What's up? How we doing?
Do you see that in the comments there too? I was having a laugh about that.
Yeah, I added it.
Yeah.
You're getting a lot of love, actually.
Oh, good.
I don't know who
Well, I
this
actually had to
Zap-
turn it off
I don't know
because I
who-
couldn't stop the beeps.
Who is that guy? Michael Zap Kai.
Zap guy?
Michael Zap Kai. I think we call him Zappy sometimes around here.
Zappy. I mean, that's a little bit easier.
He's a big fan. Hey, everybody. Welcome. It's the raddest, gnarliest, most tubular, awesome, uber mind-bending, there is no spoon, blow your freaking mind print-on-demand show every week that there is in existence. The show that, makes the world a better place. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Today, whoops, that's not the right one. Hang on a second. Let's get back here. I've probably only done that about 5 times before. All right, so today we got Matt, Schmitt, and Tiffany on. Matt, for most of you who don't know, Matt is he's CEO of SCUP. Isn't that right? CEO of SCUP. And Matt's kind of, he's kind of a legend in the print-on-demand space because he built up a really big print-on-demand store, did an incredible amount of revenue. I'll let Matt kind of talk about that later. And he was able to exit from that store very nicely for a lot of money. So, and we don't, Matt, you share whatever details you want on that, but he knows this world, the print-on-demand space, inside and out. He's got a ton of valuable tips and tricks and advice he can offer us. So we're going to get into that real deep here today. And then Tiffany's kind of a fan favorite around here. She's hit multiple winners. She had a big winner last year for Valentine's Day, another big winner for Mother's Day. I believe she was riding some winners all through summer, and now we're in Christmas season. And anybody that kind of knows what they're doing is starting to find their feet right now for Christmas. So things are looking up. Things are looking big. You're getting some love here in the chat, Tiffany. So anyway, thanks for coming back. Really appreciate you guys.
Yeah, I appreciate you having us. I'm excited to be here.
Thanks for having us here.
Yeah. So everybody, if you could, like the post. Tell me where you're watching from in the comments. So again, we moved Coffee with Michael down to 10 a.m. from 2 p.m. Central, specifically to accommodate all of our European friends. We just opened our Amsterdam factory. So if you're watching from Europe, I want you to comment in the chat below. Let us know that you're here. So we've got Facebook user from Malaysia. Facebook user almost covers all the continents every week. We have Gary from Atlanta. We have Max from the Bahamas. Who wouldn't like to be in the Bahamas right now? That'd be awesome. That'd be pretty sweet. Facebook user is also in the UK. Love how Facebook user tends to get around here.
Well-traveled Facebook user.
Yeah. We've got another Facebook user in the country of Texas. It's the best way to describe that place. Austin. By the way, lots of Facebook users. If you go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, you can give StreamYard or Facebook the ability to add, let us see your name. So go do that. Pierre Montreal from Quebec. Pierre Montreal. I can't figure out if that's a name. Montreal, Quebec, Canada. No, this is he's giving us a location there. I'm still waking up. Great state of Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
That's Dawn. We got Christine from Boston. What's up? Where are our folks from Europe here? We've got Facebook user in the Middle East, John from Minnesota. We love the rest of you. I'm just interested in the Europe folks.
You got Romania, France.
Yeah.
I'm just not seeing all the comments, I guess. They kind of get filtered out in my feed here. Facebook user from Sweden, Toronto. Kenya, Toronto again. Lots of folks from Canada. Welcome. Coffee from India. I like it. I lived in India for a while. So welcome. France. There we go. Nevada, Romania. What's up? France again. That's what I'm talking about. Slovakia. So cool stuff about the Amsterdam facility. We've been tracking shipping times. It's incredible. The stuff is the Amsterdam crew is doing an amazing job. Orders are coming in. Oftentimes they leave in the same day, and they're getting to their destination, Europe side, within 2 or 3 days. It's incredible. It's like shipping from Florida to New York. So no more are you looking at 7, 10, 14-day shipping times from the United States. They're getting there super freaking fast, which is incredible. That also means we're going to have extended selling times in Europe as we get closer to our shipping cutoff here, as Christmas gets a little bit closer. So every single day you can sell closer to Christmas is big freaking money. The sales continue to increase exponentially all the way to Christmas. It's seriously unbelievable. So welcome, everybody. Well, as you guys know, we like to kick things off with a toast around here. And I think it's about that time. So if you could, raise up your glasses, mugs, bottles, and flasks, and join me now for the Digital Marketer's Toast. Here's to more conversions, more cash, cheap CPMs, and lower CACs, to higher CTRs, much higher CVRs, to enable ad accounts and big bank accounts, upsells, downsells, and cross-sells, to winning products and repeat sales, and to the thing that everybody knows, the riches are in the niches, but also your email flows. You ready?
Oh, nice.
Drink up.
That's my first time hearing that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I almost have it memorized. I think I've said it about 116 times now.
That's a lot.
And I still have to pull it up.
Next time we need to blindfold you and have you recite the whole thing from memory.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can. I might. We'll see. All right, everybody. Let's get into our testimonials. I do have some announcements. We just got a lot of stuff coming at you. I'm going to try to get through these pretty quick. And then we will get going here. We have some folks from Greece. Seeing that slide up. That's nice. Sweden, Netherlands. That's what I'm talking about. Everybody in Europe was still just kind of waking up a little bit, I think. That's probably what was going on. All right, last week's recap. So Valentin had a $109 order, which is pretty amazing. You've got to turn on your on-page add-ons because the AOVs, we're talking 3-digit AOVs this entire season if you have all the add-ons on. Thanks for sharing, Valentin. You've got some swag coming your way. Somebody from my team will be reaching out. Mohammed, first sale, congratulations. I love seeing the first sale posts. I love seeing new sellers get activated. This is the best. If you are just getting started with e-commerce, this is the best time of year to be experimenting because it's like stealing candy from a baby. There are so many buyers activated in the marketplace. It is unreal. So if you're just getting started, this is an amazing time. Don't sit on the fence. Don't sit on the bench. Don't procrastinate. Get out there, take action. There's a huge holiday pie, as I say every year, but it belongs to the action takers. Anyway, thank you, Mohammed, for sharing this. Congratulations, buddy. Love to see that. You've got some swag coming your way. William Shum, I hope I'm saying your last name right. 182 units sold with native ads. Now, I love seeing people experimenting on new platforms. He's not the only ShineOn seller that's used native ads. We've seen multiple sellers use native ads before, and they've always reached 6 figures and above with native ads. So if you're sleeping on native, I would recommend, maybe check that out. You may not be a Facebook seller. You may like to get a little bit more technical, more in the weeds. You may like long drawn out testing processes. That might just be how your mind works. Native may be the perfect place for you. William is starting to kill it. And as I said, we've had sellers destroy it on native in the past. So definitely check that out. Facebook is not the only game in town. Oscar here, secret win on Facebook ads. Oscar made a pretty big value post in the group talking about how he's crushing it right now with Facebook ads. I actually had a call with Oscar earlier this week. His team, they're absolutely destroying it between Facebook and TikTok right now. I'm talking 5-figure days, healthy 5-figure days right now between those two platforms. So definitely pay attention to his posts. These guys know what they're doing. They're crushing it right now. And also be paying attention to TikTok. You don't want to sleep on that. From what I understand with TikTok, attribution is near 100% on TikTok right now. It's like they got some kind of back alley deal with Apple going on, I think. So they're not dropping data with iOS 14 the same way Facebook has to. Go check it out. It's amazing. So, yeah. Oscar, congratulations, buddy. Thanks for sharing that. I love to see you guys' success. You got some swag coming your way. All right, if you want some swag, all you got to do, drop a testimonial post with some screenshots in the group, drop a value post, like if you're crushing it, hitting new sales milestones, whatever, or tips, tricks, and hacks to help others succeed. We grab 2 to 5 posts literally every week. We just launched a swag store, so we've got t-shirts and mugs and all kinds of other stuff coming in there. We're trying to upload new products in there. It's going to be really exciting as we move into 2022. But drop some posts. You'll be selected for some swag, and you'll get to buy something, or you'll get something for free from the swag store. So pretty sweet. All right, latest news. I'm moving quickly here. So the 100, 100, 100 challenge just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? this is actually amazing. This challenge is, which started, I think, September 1st, has driven well over, I think we're getting on 15,000 sales now. So just the challenge members have generated almost 15,000 orders. We had 1,200 people, I think, join within 24 hours. The doors closed at the end of September, but it's just been a great community. They're holding each other accountable. They're sharing testing processes and methods. We're going live in the group once a week. We've got this kind of leaderboard here. It's pretty amazing. So over like getting close to 15,000 sales generated on this, and good grief, the number of designs this group has uploaded to the database is like, I think we're getting on 50,000 designs or something like that. It's absolutely unreal how hard this group of people is going after it. So amazing job. Keep it up. As we get into Christmas, I guarantee we may hit 100,000 orders generated from this group alone, which is unbelievable. Do the math on that. 100,000 times 50. That's unreal, the amount of revenue this little group is going to generate. So congratulations, everybody. Love to see that. All right. Very quickly, quick word of warning. Earmuffs for everybody. We usually keep the show rated G, rated PG-13. But if you have kids in the audience, kids in your car, wherever you're listening to this, do little earmuffs. Jim got a little bit carried away in his naming of the shot of espresso this week. I hesitate to repeat this. I don't want to say it because I want Facebook to take this down. How do you scale Facebook ads? That's what he called his shot of espresso this week. Not sure that that's totally safe for kids. Jim was getting quite carried away with his southern language here. So I just want to give everybody a warning. If you haven't seen this, though, go check it out. We've been testing all kinds of crap in the our media buying team. I mean, we're literally running tests every single week. They've cracked the code on some cool scaling methods. So go check out his shot of espresso to get the latest and greatest on what's working right now in our environment with iOS 14 and the Facebook kind of ad apocalypse we're living through. So you're going to want to go check that out. All right. Other news. So we launched an advanced rendering engine. So this thing is pretty freaking cool. I'm going to take a few minutes to kind of describe it. So we already had probably the best renders of any print-on-demand company that I'm aware of anyways, right, for the jewelry stuff. They're already amazing. Well, we kind of had an issue because we wanted to start introducing UGC style renders into the system. But UGC style, it requires and I don't get all of it, but the shadowing and some of the details, there's more complexity involved there. And so the graphic design team would have to break out the renders into a bunch of different layers and things like that. And we actually had to retool our entire system so that we could create really high quality, realistic UGC style renders from the photos that we're starting to take. So you can see kind of a little GIF over here on the right that shows it. I've got a few more images just to kind of show it off. This is all UGC style, completely rendered inside of the app. It's really cool. Some of these show off the shadowing really well. And again, it's a little tough for me to explain, but keep in mind that no matter what your message card looks like, so you could have a dark background, a bright background, this white one, this advanced rendering system allows it to generate the render and make it look more realistic. So all the shading and all that stuff looks a lot better. It's pretty freaking amazing. We've got a ton of new UGC style renders coming into the platform. You're going to want to go check those out. We're literally working around the clock right now to upload these. The advanced rendering system got finished, I think, yesterday. And we have been working 24/7, uploading as many of these UGC style creatives as we possibly can. You're going to want to go check it out. Our goal is to have hundreds of unique renders for every product we have in our entire catalog. We have a photography team set up already, taking pictures all day long. We're building this out as fast as we can for everybody. It's going to be huge. So you're going to want to go check that out. Keep an eye on the products because we're uploading new renders literally all the time right now. So what you see in the system today will be different by the middle of next week, by the end of the next week, and so on and so forth. This is going to be an ongoing effort. So it's going to be really cool. You're going to want to check that out. All right. We also launched the Etsy integration earlier this week. If you didn't see my post, go check that out. I did a whole kind of 10-minute video on the Etsy integration, how it works, some of the cool features that we built into it for you. So you're going to want to go take a look at that if you haven't yet. All right. We also launched the Q4 contest. So something that's a little different about our contest compared to a lot of the other print-on-demand companies is the contests are usually just loaded with eye candy. It's gifts that you can actually get, right? It's like fighter jets and Tesla Roadsters if you get 200,000 orders and all this stuff that nobody ever actually plans to give away. Trips on super yachts and all this kind of stuff. It's really just eye candy. It's to build hype. It's to make some noise. It's just to draw in people, that kind of thing. Well, we decided to take this whole thing, turn it on its head, and make this an opportunity. We tried to make realistic, value-driven prizes that you can actually achieve and you will actually be able to win this year. So we've got 4 right now that we've identified. So the first is if you sell 500 orders, if you get 500 orders between now and the end of the year, you're going to get invited to a mastermind event, not just one, but 2 of them. They're virtual mastermind events, and you're going to get $500 in cash. The first mastermind event is probably going to be in February, and the next one is going to be in August, right before Q4. We're going to have a whole panel of coaches and e-commerce experts come on, teach you the latest and greatest tips and tricks, things like that, so you can take advantage of the peak holiday seasons. Again, we got Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, and Father's Day in Q1 and Q2. And then August is a great time to come back and get ramped up and refresh your knowledge as we move into Christmas. So it's a really cool opportunity. 500 orders is all you have to achieve to get this. So tons of people are going to get free tickets to these mastermind events. Next, if you achieve 2,000 orders, we're actually going to have an exclusive mastermind retreat. So this is not a virtual event. You're going to be invited and flown out to an undisclosed location at this point in time. Just imagine some palm trees and an ocean and some really cool stuff. That's probably where it's going to be.
Florida.
Eric Taz is going to be there with some other folks. And it's going to be a great time. It's going to be a great weekend. Again, all e-commerce focused, all about how you can build your business and grow in the print-on-demand space. All right, then our top 10 sellers are going to get $3,000 in cash, and the top 5 sellers are going to get all of this stuff, right? So you're going to get invited to all the masterminds. You're going to get $3,000 in cash, and you're going to get to become an exclusive ShineOn VIP. Now, what is that? Well, we are actually going to invite these individuals. They're going to be given a backstage pass, so to speak. They're going to be able to come join us on calls in the company and basically help us build ShineOn throughout 2022, right? We're going to take your feature ideas, your product ideas, the unique stuff that you want to see us start to incorporate into the company. We're going to take that into account. We're going to try to launch on some of your ideas. We're actually going to bring you into discussions and help you build the company as we move into 2022. So we're super excited about that. You know how ShineOn is. We love to bring our sellers into the fold, make them part of the team, and really be a driver for the company, right? And the ideation and all that kind of stuff. So we're super excited about this. It's going to be really cool. All right. Told you I'm trying to move quick here. We launched on-page add-ons. So free money alert here. Look, go into the app, go into the platform, especially if you've got a product that's scaling. Guys, I'm telling you, you need to go turn this on. It's free money. If you don't have this on, you're leaving money on the table. Go into the app, go into the platform, navigate to your product, go to product details, turn on these upsells. It will make you money. It's just free money. If you want to hit those 3-digit AOVs as we move into Christmas, you want these on. If you're on the app, the only way you're going to see this is if you try the new experience. So if you're on the app and you haven't tried the new experience yet, you need to click that, go in and try the new experience, turn on your add-ons, and if you decide the new experience isn't for you, you can actually go back to the old experience and leave the add-ons on, right? So you're going to want to go do that. Do not leave this money on the table. It's big money, I'm telling you. We're seeing 3-digit AOVs all over the place. We're also actively conversion rate optimizing all of this stuff. We have tests going up literally every week. And hopefully within 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to have all these converting at really high percentages. You're going to want to go take advantage of this stuff. All right, coming early next week, we've got a fire sale. We're going to be discounting the base cost on a bunch of different products up to $7 on some of these here. All those details are going to come out next week. It's going to be unreal. You're going to this is perfect as you're moving into Q4, right? Because you're going to get lower base costs, which means you may be able to lower your suggested selling prices on your retail prices on your products, which should increase your conversions, and hopefully you'll get more profit from a volume play. So anyway, you're going to want to pay attention to that. We're going to be announcing all of that early next week. And then finally, holy crap, is this our last one? Oh man, it's just so much goodness. Almost out of breath here. All right, so package protection is coming soon to the app. So On the platform right now, if you navigate to a product, you will see package protection right here. It gets turned on automatically. This has roughly an 80% take rate across the board. Every order that comes through, 80% of the orders have package protection as part of it. We sell it for $2.98, right? Package protection. We take care of that. So meaning on the platform, if the customer has an issue, we literally will send them a new product, we'll replace it, we'll correct it, whatever it needs to be. This is how we pay for all of that, right? This is what it looks like. This is coming to the app. So if you're on the app, early next week, this will be turned on. You're going to want to turn it on, okay? It has an 80% take rate. You're going to be able to find, if you go navigate to your product and you go to product upsells, you're going to be able to find it right here. And again, you're going to want to make sure you turn this on. It's free money. You're going to get $1.50 extra profit on roughly 80% of your orders, right? 80% of the people take this. So you're going to want to make sure you turn that on. It's $1.50 extra, especially if you're scaling. Anybody that's scaling, you're crazy to me if you don't have this turned on. Because if you're doing hundreds of units a day, thousands of units a week, this is just extra money in your pocket. You need to go make sure you have this on. 80% of the orders, take it, like I said. One more thing. I'm going to drink here. Oh, yeah, I remember this. All right. So, yeah, this is just a teaser. We got a new machine in the factory earlier this week. This is our production crew. Give them a big shout out. These are the guys that really make all the magic happen in the company. Without these guys, ShineOn would not exist. Your orders would not go out. This is they are the heartbeat of the entire company, in my opinion. But yeah, we got a new machine. It does some pretty cool stuff. There are some products that we have announced that we're launching soon. And these new machines are required to make it happen. So you're going to love this. That's all you're getting, though. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm not going to tell you what the product is. It's coming, though. So keep your eyes peeled on the group over the following weeks. It's going to be super exciting, especially as we get a little deeper into Q4 and closer to Christmas. Some of these products are going to scale massively. Some people are going to be adding 6 figures to their bank account on these products alone as soon as we get them up. It's going to be unreal. All right. So best way to stay connected and up to date on all the announcements in the group. Up at the very top of the group, there's it was announcements 2 weeks ago when I took this freaking screenshot, and I think ShineOn changed it to featured now. I'm starting to see it say featured in some of the groups. So it says announcements are featured somewhere up at the top of the group. Just click that. All the big stuff that we're pushing out, we usually make a post and we mark it as an announcement. So if you're ever behind or you want to figure out what ShineOn has released recently, go in there, hit the button. You'll be able to scroll through it and see all the cool stuff that we're bringing your way. All right. Let's get this off the screen here. Holy moly.
That was a lot.
Yeah, man.
That's
this
good,
is a
though.
tough time of year to be doing interviews because we're just pushing stuff out the door left, right, and center. It's unbelievable, all the crap the team is working on.
That's why we like working with you guys.
Yeah, man. It's I think I was a ShineOn seller for years, and being on this side of it makes me want to go back to being a seller. I'll just put it that way, because we're just pushing out so much cool stuff. And a lot of other print-on-demand companies, I just feel like they're not even thinking about half the crap that we are. I feel like we're light years ahead of them. I'm not trying to, toot our own horns here. Maybe I am a little bit. But seriously,
it's okay to toot your own.
The on-page add-ons, the package protection, the new product categories that we're constantly going into, the UGC style renders. It's like, I just don't feel like anybody is even playing the same game that we are.
Yeah. And tip for anybody that's going to utilize that UGC is going to be huge for your retargeting. That's where we get a lot of, we usually have to create or wait, right? Is kind of the mentality in my internal team. So we get stuff, we're aggressive about it. But if you can have that UGC and that real look, one of the hesitations of people who buy off of things like Facebook are, is it a real company? Are you real? And blah, blah, blah. And they'll be able to see that in hand like that gives that sense of reality, which you're real, obviously, and you know that, but they don't know that. So you're helping them overcome that hurdle that stops them a lot right there in that middle of funnel kind of thing.
Yeah, well, the cool thing about those UGCs is they look kind of crunchy, right? They look like review, like they're the kind of photo you'd expect somebody that
Yeah,
just
exactly.
received it as a gift to take a
Yeah.
picture of and leave as a review. So
Yeah.
it works great in the retargeting because it, keep in mind, folks, that folks that are in your retargeting funnel, they're further down the funnel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there might be some objections or something like that you're trying to overcome at that stage in the buying process.
Right.
And when they have a photo that looks real, right, it increases trust. It increases authenticity. You gain more credibility with them, that kind of thing. So it's pretty freaking cool. So, Matt, a lot of folks here already know who Tiffany is. Thanks, Tiffany, for showing up. I'm super excited to get into all this.
Yeah, I got a fan base in this chat here as well. I saw it. Tell
us, for those that don't know who you are, though, Matt. Give us kind of an intro. Give us a little bit on your background. When did you start in print on demand? What were some of your first big wins? Walk us through that a little bit. What is the origin story of Matt Schmitt?
So I've been telling this story for a very long time now. So now every time I do this, I'm like, all right, how many years is it? But I am one of the, I would say probably one of the older heads in the print on demand space in terms of running ads on Facebook. Don Wilson, a couple other people that have been around. I met Eric, probably half a decade ago, and stuff like that. So I was back in groups where Teespring was a new thing. It was one of the first people that jumped onto the platform. If you're not even familiar with Teespring, that's how long it's been. Back when we could only sell T-shirts, and I did it like most people did it.
MySpace of print on demand.
It's crazy.
Companies.
Yeah, I was one of the people that was screaming at Teespring and being like, "Can we sell hoodies?" And they're like, "Oh, I don't know, hoodies is that we can't figure out the logistics." So it's a whole new world here. Trust me, that we're in right now. So I started doing a lot of. I came out of let's go back a little bit further. I came out of college in the Great Recession, and I had an IT degree, which was almost impossible to get a job at the time. So that forced me into my parents' basement, which forced me into trying to find a job as desperately as I could because I wanted to leave and get married at the time. And I ended up, I try to think about this all the time. I think about it all the time, but I really can't remember the first thing that I ever found or what Google search brought me to, hey, let's make some money online. You can make money online. I remember Shopify wasn't a thing back then. ShineOn wasn't a thing back then. Teespring wasn't a thing back then.
So we're talking
by
like
the way,
late 2000s?
Facebook ads weren't a thing back then. So that's how long ago we're talking.
Are we talking late 2000s here, like 2009, 10-ish?
This is about 2009 is when I got out of the Great Recession. And I started making a website because I lost 100 pounds in college. So I was going to make this college weight loss plan. Turned out super hard to monetize your own site back then. So I stumbled into the very first paid ad platform that I got onto was actually Google AdWords. And I ended up trying to drive traffic to my site. And then I stumbled into something which no longer exists called the Google Affiliate Network. And I was like, whoa, there was a game called Second Life, if anybody's familiar with it. They paid $1 per sign up. And I was like, well, I could probably try to figure that out. And so I signed up for that and I just started pushing traffic directly to their site, started making some pretty good money. The problem was I was completely inexperienced and never dawned on me to be like, hey, Dad, I'm turning 30 cents into $1 here. Can I borrow some money? Because I'm, again, living in my parents' basement, broke college kid, doing chores and stuff like that to pay for this. So I'm slowly rolling money over, waiting to get paid and rolling money over. Eventually get a job, and then an influx of cash meant my ads could scale. So I, started going up, and then I got the ban. So which I tell the story all the time, but I was running Google AdWords to an offer on the Google Affiliate Network, and Google Affiliate Network said, "We don't like the way that you're driving traffic." And it's like, okay,
were you like double dipping? Is that
no? It's like it was okay one day and not okay the next. But it always positioned me as like, I'm running your other company, your traffic to your offer, and you're saying it's not okay. So I never really understood that one. But it led me to shortly after Facebook and Teespring with some big headaches in between there. But I kind of obviously liked that it happened, and then I got to this position.
So what year did you find Facebook and Teespring?
So shortly, I was in actually in a bar when Facebook went and it went public, and then the ads platform started rolling out. So we had to do groups, and then we could sell T-shirts within the groups. We didn't even run ads to it. And then we all I remember the very early days of figuring out like, hey, you could actually drive traffic directly to an offer and make it convert. This was before everybody was on their phone. Everybody was on desktop traffic. It was completely different world.
We're talking like
early 2010s. Yeah.
Was it 10 when their ad platform rolled out?
I think they're around that. Yeah. Shortly after the IPO.
Okay. So we're still
still way back.
11 years ago.
Yeah. So I've been doing this for quite a long time. And to speed things up for you, I had a really good paying job. And one of the reasons I love doing what I do with SCUP and here and educating people is that my life was changed by someone, Don Wilson, who you guys know, and it was a totally different world back then, but I was able to get myself into something and say, hey, Teespring actually could make me more money than my job was paying me. And I elevated up into a pretty good position relative to my age. I was making more money than all my friends, but I was still going home and working on something. And everybody was like, you're absolutely crazy. What are you doing? You're getting this nice job. You're getting out of your parents' basement. You're in your own house now. While everybody else is like, still trying to get their feet under them. And then I wanted to quit. And people look at you like you're crazy, but I had a passion for something that led me to the position that we're in right now. So I knew it was the right move. Luckily, I had a person on my side that was willing to take the risk with me, and we never looked back since. So it's been a long time, right? We moved into our Shopify stores, and I've obviously for the last 6 years, I built up a store that I sold last year. So it took me about 6 years to get end to end on that thing. But, I changed my life because I took a risk and was willing to stick with something that I think was very, in my core, very passionate about, right? Creating something and giving somebody a really good experience where they open a present, they open jewelry and they see it and their breath, it takes their breath away, not necessarily just something that we, drop ship from China and it kind of falls apart in the first 2 days. So
yeah, dude.
That's why I've always been in print on demand space.
I want to talk about your Shopify store here a little bit. And
yeah.
I know you've sold it, so I don't know how much you can share and stuff. So you just, you kind of manage me on that. But so you said you started it, 6 years ago? So we're talking 2015-ish.
Yep.
How is, I'm just curious how print on demand was different back then. So first of all, I'm guessing the product lines were much more limited back then. It was mostly like T-shirts and apparel, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've seen this industry literally go from a single product to what we have out here today. Working with Eric's been great because one of the codes that you guys cracked here at ShineOn that I don't think a lot of people maybe be able to appreciate unless you've been around as long as me is that high margin products on demand is wild, right? I mean, most of my career in here has been working with the margin of T-shirts. And hoodies were your big product. Now you've gotten the ability to, we're selling, I got an ad I launched this morning for that 10K gold necklace, right? So we're going after that in the $250 range, right? Without the add-ons. So, that is a crazy time. So back then, the store, I can't tell the name. It turns out when you pay a bunch of money for stuff, people don't want you to come. And the first thing they did was they said, we Googled you and we see that you speak and educate people. So we would appreciate if you don't share that. And then they kind of wrote that in. I'm like, fair enough, because it was a lot of money. So 6 years end to end on that. 6 years ago, the store was founded around some unique products at the time that were a little bit outside the box. And I think that does give you a competitive edge. That is a truth in business, that if you are able to do something like that and stand out, that it will give you an advantage versus your competition.
So
yeah.
I have a question for you on that. When you say that the products were unique, are you talking about the actual, like the hardware, or are you like the piece of apparel or clothing or whatever it was? Or are you talking about the kind of angle you took into print on demand with the design and the creative?
Yeah, the products at the time were unique relative to the time, right? They're everybody's selling them now, right? But we were able to get a competitive edge into the niche because, or into the niche, but also into the just Facebook ads, because it was a product that not a lot of people would sell, right? And not a lot of people, it was cutting edge at the time. Now everybody sells it, right? But we stood out in a crowd full of t-shirt ads at the time, right? Because that's what everybody else was selling. So we were able to make some advantages there. And then one of the biggest things about print on demand that we've taken as a philosophy, and I teach to everybody that I talk to, is that staying ahead of trends and taking risks on new products is a good thing. Totally. If you do it in a smart, educated way, you can gain a lot of advantage simply by just being different in the newsfeed in a sea full of banner blindness where everybody else is pushing the same product. Print on demand is great because you can do it with the design, but if you can do it with the design and the product, that's a winner for sure.
Yeah. I always tell everybody you should get there firstest with the mostest, right? Mm-hmm. But like the idea is the message card jewelry, the reason though it took off like it did, especially in 2020, was because it was so new in the news feeds. I mean, I think that product launched, it was in Q4 2019. Yeah. And in 2020, it just destroyed it with the lockdowns and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I totally agree with you. And that's also why anybody here that's watching this, you need to be paying attention, because we got metal art coming soon. We have leather coming soon. We have the name necklaces around the corner, which have never been sold with message cards before. So these are going to be a bunch of new products hitting news feeds that don't have a lot of suppliers weight behind them today. So yeah, I totally agree with that, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's my philosophy, and the way that and we can talk more about this, the way that I was able to get up to nearly $20 million in a year and be able to exit my business was sustainable processes that are around testing things like that, coming in with competitive edges. That's a business philosophy that I could go read in a book that I have in my library here. Is it's just the truth of business. It's not like I take a lot of, and Tiffany can attest to this, a lot of stuff that I do is just stuff that I learned in the corporate world, or I've learned and educated myself in the business world and applied it to the print on demand space. One thing I kind of get, I want to push people past is constantly looking for the reinvention of the wheel, so to speak, and stick back to what is just a truth in business that has gone through the test of time forever, and it's just stay ahead of your competitors and be unique and offer something that a customer possibly has never seen before.
Yeah. Have you ever read the 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing?
No, I'll put it on the list though.
Well, it's a real short marketing book, but it's great. I picked it up because it was recommended by Tim Ferriss as being one of his most influential marketing books he'd ever read. But there's a chapter in there about brands, like big brands. And it's interesting because in many, many cases, the biggest, how would I put this? The biggest brand in the industry was the first brand there. And there are a ton of examples. It was like Coca-Cola. Don't quote me on these. You have to read the book because I don't remember them all. But it was like Coca-Cola, IBM for a really long time. I think Ford, at least in the United States. There were a bunch of others that they went through. But yeah, so my point is, I think that you're totally right, man. That if you can get there first with a unique product, that gives you a huge edge in and of itself, right? Yes. It gives you a ton of leverage, especially if you're new, right? You can make a lot of mistakes, but if you're there first with a unique product,
and the beauty
forgiving of the other stuff.
The beauty of print on demand, right, is and this is everybody listening to this is your advantage versus a traditional company, right? That's maybe not on demand. Is that you can take risk and fail at a rapid rate. That's the point of testing, right? We call it testing. And then the problem is a lot of people feel bad when that fails. It's like, I used to work in a company, a very big company, one of the biggest companies in the world. And we were for months, Anheuser-Busch, I'm from St. Louis. So say I was in the game with Lime-A-Rita, right? If anybody's familiar with that product. And it's under the Bud Light name. Even with that brand power of Bud Light, one of the most recognizable brands in the entire world, a launch like that would still take months and millions of dollars to execute. And then hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars worth of inventory. And then it might still fail. And so you have to understand that you have all that even a company that at that level, at that scale is still testing and launching and failing. And if you think that you're going to execute on your first try and it's just going to be a game buster, you're not thinking about this correctly. The people who make it in this game, and every single person on this call has been here before, is that I fail probably more than anybody on this damn call. That's one thing for sure. But that's part of the game. You lean into it and you're constantly learning, and I'm looking at it and risking. And then once I stick, whoop, it goes through the roof.
Well, there's a weird paradox here, right?
Yeah.
You will probably succeed in direct proportion to the amount that you fail.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a weird paradox.
Yeah.
So here, I want to bring Tiffany into this a little bit. So
yeah.
So you started the store 6 years ago. You built it up into a sellable asset, print on demand. You learned a ton of stuff there that I want to get into. Then you sold it. I'm not quite sure how did you and Tiffany come to meet, and what's you guys like a working relationship now and all that stuff.
Well, there's a little bit of history there. Like Scup's been around for a long time and doing a lot of things, because a few years ago. Now, I think about 5 years ago now, I was looking to get my own developers. And then I ended up meeting Devin, my partner, and he's like, well, why don't you just buy part of my company? And then we worked together. And that transformed into the app company. We bought a theme company that put it underneath Scup. And then we actually have an educational piece now to it. And one of the courses that we create is something that Tiffany came through, which is our jewelry profits course. So I'll let you talk about that. And your experiences there.
So yeah, I was just a little quick background. I was looking, I had been doing corporate work for 15 years and I was very not happy about it. I feel like a walking zombie going to work and coming back to home every day and doing the same thing. And then the one thing I always thought about is I can be gray-haired and no teeth and with a cane walking down the street and doing the same thing that I did 50 years ago. And that was not life. So I started really looking for something that was an uptrend that is growing, not diminishing, and that has the ability to scale and also ability to travel and work anywhere, anytime. So really that nomad style lifestyle. I looked into Amazon FBA, spent a lot of time and money on courses and into drop shipping as well. And by complete chance that I came on to the Scup course, and I had no idea what even POD meant. And so once I looked into a little bit and I took a chance, bought the course, and Matt was the one behind the course. And I've had a lot of really good coaches in different things, whether it's in corporate America or dance or even just flipping real estate. And so to me, I know the most important thing in my mind is to have an excellent coach, because I can bypass a lot of the pitfalls. I can get there faster, hopefully cheaper too. So the way Matt taught in the course was very direct, no bullshit. Can I say that? Oops, sorry. You can bleep that out. and very systematic and mindful. So obviously with Matt's experience, he's kind of like the PhD level, where I'm in the elementary level. I didn't even know what Facebook ads meant really at the time. So, but because of the systematicness that he taught, it really gave me much more concrete idea of how to go about it from a top level to which buttons to click. So the first chance, so I'm gonna veer away a little bit, Matt. The first chance when Scup launched their incubator program, I hopped onto it and just so I can get closer to Matt and really be in the vicinity of the people that are doing great things, that have the great mindset.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that.
I think that's so freaking important too. So, it's interesting because Matt, Who was kind of a mentor for you when you were getting rolling in all this?
Well, I had a couple of them back in the day. I mean, the early stars in this, and years ago, Don got into it. Tanner Larson is another one.
Yep.
Tanner and I connected. And I actually like spoken at his events and known him pretty on a personal level. And he was the systematic approach that I mind melded with, right? So I could see that kind of thing.
So what I find interesting here is that, first of all three of us, in fact, everybody I know that's successful in this space, every single one of them, they have mentors, or they've invested in coaching. They've invested in their own education and their skills to learn and get ahead. And the reason I want to say that out loud is just, I know we have a lot of folks listening or will watch this video later on YouTube that are maybe new, and you really need to take that part seriously. If you don't have the money to spend on a course or coaching or whatever, fine, but go out on YouTube, try to find somebody that's ahead of you in a Facebook group somewhere, and pick up everything that you can, right? Because it's super important. Like, you need their help to kind of get ahead. The second thing I find super interesting anyway is that, at least with us three, all of us have corporate backgrounds. I spent a ton of time in kind of the corporate world, but actually when I went to print on demand space, I actually found that it helped me tremendously.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I was able to like build processes and tools and systems, and I understood the value of all those kinds of things, and having like good KPIs and metrics and maintaining discipline, and like, heck, just getting my butt to a chair every single day and doing the work, right? I learned all that from having to show up at a freaking corporate job for a long time, right? I just find it interesting that so many people I know that are successful in the entrepreneurial space typically have a background in the corporate world at some level. And it is interesting to me that all three of us.
I mean, look, there is nothing wrong with having a corporate job, right? I think and Tiffany kind of just highlighted this, is that there are people that, and I thought about this almost exactly what you said, Tiffany, is what I've thought about before. It's like, I had people when I was rising up in the corporate world, I would get into these levels where these guys got to and sat, right, at managerial levels at this level, and they would sat there for 30 years. And I had a flash forward of like, in that role, could I do that role for 30 years? I'm like, I don't even know if I could do this role for a year. Like, I'm looking for the next role. And then, but I can appreciate the fact that there are people that do that and they're completely happy. Cloud nine, do what makes you happy. And I think that's what's most important, is we all made the move that got us into where we were happy, right? So it's not but like bad corporate. A lot of people misinterpret when I say that. It's like, hey, I learned a ton of stuff. Admittedly, there were some meetings where I was in very high level marketing meetings, and I was probably too focused on like, how do I apply? I'm like listening to some like genius corporate marketing person. I'm like, that was really smart. I'm going to apply that to my POD store. I'm going to apply that to my POD store. Dude. I'm probably not focused on my job enough, but I was learning, and I'm like, man, that's really smart. I could take that and apply that to a store.
Well, the right corporate job is a paid education.
Right.
You're basically being paid to like learn all these skills that you're going to need maybe to run a business later. Mm-hmm. And I think what you just said is important too, because there are a lot of people that are doing this part-time. That eventually want to move full-time, and it'd probably be really easy to get down on yourself for being in a corporate job or seeing the negative. But I would just encourage everybody, try to flip it on its head. Try to find the redeeming qualities of where you're at and learn and absorb as much as you can. I like to say, eat the meat and throw out the bones, right? Do that in your corporate job, because I guarantee there are things there are lessons that can be picked up that you can apply later down the road that will help you succeed, wherever you're going to, in whatever is going to make you happy. Kind of like what Matt was saying. All right. So
I was going to say real quick, I've always had a very good check on this and on check on myself. One of the biggest things I've ever helped me in my life is perspective, especially as my life changes around me. My wife has a job here, and she's an occupational therapist at the hospital, one of the hospitals here in St. Louis. She doesn't need to, let's just be frank, she doesn't need to work anymore, right? Like, we don't need her money. But I've never been one to push her towards leaving, right? Because she works with cancer patients and gets them back on their feet and makes them healthy and changes their life. There's a huge value in that position that I never want to be the one making the decision to take that away from her, right? And so if she ever decides to do it, yeah, but it's not about the money to her. It's about the things that she gets out of it. So there's a lot of people that I've talked to over the same course of the years that do this kind of stuff and say, hey, I'm just trying to pay a couple of bills. That's all I want to get out of it. And like, hey, I can be the guy for you. I want to create something that's scalable that you could start small and then get it up to a position of wherever you want to go. So that I just wanted to throw that in there. Is I've always had that check in my life, and you always want to have something like that and keep that perspective as things may change for you over time.
100%, man. And you know, every time I do one of these interviews, every single time, we spend a great deal of the conversation on mindset. Yeah. Right. Oh, we're getting into persistence, systems, processes, you know, perspectives. We're always spending time on that because it's like literally the foundation of all the rest of it. Yeah. So 100%. Let's get into, I do want to shift gears though, because I do want to get into a little bit of the tactics because Tiffany's hit a ton of winners. You obviously, I mean, to grow a store like you did, have hit a ton of winners, winning products in the past. What, you know, give us some tips. Like if there's somebody out there that wants to build their brand into a sellable asset, right? How, you know, start laying out kind of the framework. Like how do they need to be approaching their business to do that? What advice would you give them?
Yeah. So one of the big things that you're going to have to realize is that a business that can be sold there. Okay. On the front part of it, let's put on the front part and then the back part, right? On the front part of it, you are going to need consistency almost across the board with your revenue, with your processes and the things like that, that you're launching products, you're launching ads, you're going to launch, and these are going to all be documented at some point. Right. And then your customer journey after that, on the backside of it, you're going to have a consistent customer journey that they're going to see. They're not going to be, if you come to somebody and say, buy my site that only has traffic from, you know, the front and it's just always new sellers and they have zero repeat sellers.
Cold acquisition.
You're basically putting a gigantic hurdle in front of you and saying, please jump over this hurdle for me and pay me a bunch of money. And no one's going to do it because a business that grows, a business that's scalable has consistency on the back end where I'm converting people over and over and over again. Like everybody's like, what ads are you going to run on Black Friday? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to push a decent amount of ads on Black Friday. But you know what I'm really going to do is I got a whole SMS campaign signed up. I got an email signed up. I'm doing a giveaway. I'm doing a bunch of stuff to my core VIP people that have been with me for years, right? And those are the people that are really Black Friday's about, and they're going to get the biggest offers because those are the people that are loyal to me and they know my brand and they're the people out, talking about us, right? That's another thing is the people that are spreading to their friends saying like, this is where I got it from, come by. So what I want people to realize is that it's not just about Facebook ads. Like you're going to have to get to these different platforms eventually. The thing that I would ultimately start for you would be Facebook, Google, and then Amazon or Etsy. With the Etsy integration that ShineOn's got, you probably want to do Etsy. But eventually Amazon would be a really good place for you too. There's a part of of a customer, I just talked about it, customer journey. We realized very early on that if somebody sees your Facebook ad, and this is going to circle back to something we were just talking about, somebody sees your Facebook ad, they are going to leave, go to Google and Google you, or they're going to leave, go to Amazon and Amazon you, right? And if you're on one of those platforms, you're going to get the sale. But a lot of the people that are not buying from you, that see your ads, are going to those platforms. And if you're not there, they're buying from your competitors. So you're basically giving free traffic to your competitors that way. So that's one of the things that we learned early on through customer surveys and a bunch of different stuff. Once we started implementing that, we didn't have to rely so much on, especially this year, right? Like we didn't have to rely so much on is Facebook going to grace us with a good day or not kind of thing, right? We were able to spread out our weight a little bit and bring as many people top of funnel as we could. And then you supplement that with some email, SMS follow-up. You got yourself a nice scalable ability to go incrementally up over time, right? Which is really incremental growth is what a sellable brand should have, right? Not like this. Like you don't want to eliminate this. You want to have it go up like this, so that a person who's coming in and saying, I'm going to take out a loan, buy your business, then what do I need to do to pay back the bank? You just need to keep it going like this, not fill in these huge gaps that go like that, right?
Yeah, you need their imagination to be able to draw that line out for the next 5 years.
Right. Exactly.
To be a profitable business. Yeah. So what? Let's talk real quick about email and SMS and how you kind of build out this robust backend. So first of all, can you throw a dart at like the percentage of revenue? If you're building a sellable asset, like you have a store, your goal is to build a brand around it, turn it into a sellable asset.
Yeah.
What is like a good goal, for like good percentage goal of your revenue to be coming from email and SMS?
So from a very top level, I would say we get about 40% of our that means they came to our site and then they went through our pop-up or they went through like a newsletter, and so they touch pointed on one of those two. Then they bought through that system, or they were followed up.
You're talking about like so like in Klaviyo or Klaviyo, however the hell you say it. I always forget. You get the pop-up, with the welcome flows. They'll present a pop-up to a visitor on the site, and then they can put in their email or phone number for like a 10% discount. So that's what you're referring to there?
Yes. So you can do that with email. You can do that with SMS. We prefer SMS just simply because 90% open rates versus 15%, 28% open rate on email. So if you have the capability, somebody just made a sale, I think. That's awesome.
I see that too.
Yeah. So if you can get to that level, right, then it's so much easier to make Facebook ads and everything work, because you have people, you're obviously incentivizing them. You're giving them a good reason. But as long as you're baking that into your numbers, it makes sense, right? And you're just basically lifting that boat up.
Does the 40% also include like cart abandonment and campaigns and things like that?
Yep. So total value,
so 40%. Total revenue, or I'm struggling with the right way to articulate it. You're basically just saying that 40% of total revenues are coming from the SMS or email world somewhere.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. And most of that will come from, and that's 40% of total revenue. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So 40% of total revenue will come through one of those two ports. I'd have to dig into my numbers more silly, but a lot of that is simply the follow-up, right? Once they purchase, send them a notifications based off of, we work with an app called Rush that gives us, staged, like, oh, your order shipped, or your order's out for delivery, or your order's been delivered. And then we give additional, through Klaviyo, we give additional follow-ups after that. And of course, promotions all the time too.
And what do you use for SMS?
PostScript.
Out there.
Yeah, PostScript.io is the most. We used to be on one called Attentive. Attentive's really, really good too. That went with the store that we sold, but PostScript's been good for the stores that we're building back up. So Attentive's kind of like the Cadillac, I guess, is the way to say it. And then PostScript's really, really robust with the price point that it's at.
And so, Tiffany, I'm curious because, you've been through the courses and the coaching, and I know you've got your own store. How have you taken some of these email and SMS strategies that you've picked up, and some of these like back end strategies, and use them on the store? And what kind of like repeat, in Shopify, you have that analytic that's repeat orders. What is the analytic?
Customers.
Repeat customers. There you go. Yeah. What percentage are you seeing there?
So the SMS side is really powerful. That was the one thing that we implemented at the beginning of the year, and it's absolutely phenomenal, the amount of dollars spent versus the amount of revenue generated. We were just on a call, like I think 2 weeks ago, for like the period of 1 week in October. We spent $6.78. We generated $1,200 and over in revenue.
Yeah.
And the percentage that is, just astronomical.
They almost have to put the ROI percentage vertical because they can't write it horizontally. I know what you mean. SMS bump was the same way. It's like for pennies, you're just getting tons of sales. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so we're definitely going full force on the SMS side of things, and that and especially also for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. On the email side, we have essentially all of the welcome series and abandoned cart series. And actually, based on the feedback from Matt, so let me take it back a little bit. We were very much holiday driven. So we've done Valentine's Day really well, Mother's Day and Father's Day, but we did have the valleys and the peaks that Matt mentioned earlier. So one of the things that he recommended to us is, we don't want to experience this, but we really wanted to have that smooth growth on the way up. So a couple of things that are really important is, one, building evergreen products, not just holiday driven products, and two, brand our store. So it's not that we're selling to the customer once and off, because it's very high cost to retain or to acquire a customer, but it's much cheaper to retain them on the back end with email marketing drips and the SMS drips. So we've started to we just completed rebranding our store based on the recommendation, and then put in the full robust email campaigns on the back end as well. So we're actively working on that. And since we've put in our new email marketing campaigns, we've already seen a 10% increase on the email side in terms of the revenue increase. So we are absolutely jazzed. And we already have the flows getting ready to launch for pre-Black Friday and Black Friday itself. So to us, we are hitting, or we're trying to hit that 40% revenue number for Q4 between email marketing and SMS.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so what would you recommend for, and Matt or Tiffany, for how many campaigns a week would be a good number? Now, I get that in the run up to a Black Friday or a holiday, you're probably going to be a little bit more aggressive. Yeah. But we just came out of summer, for example, right? So over the summer, a lull period, what would you recommend for the frequency of email and SMS campaigns? How do you balance the two? For every email campaign, is there a complimentary SMS campaign that you send out at the same time? How do you tie all those strategies together?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly is going to depend on your list size, right? Because you want to be careful and not blow people up too much, because your list will blow up. It's bad for your customers and them unsubscribing for you, but eventually, if you do it enough, Klaviyo will say, "Hey, it's been fun. We liked your money, but see you later." Right? They don't want you spamming people. So we email every single day, but we get, our store is doing $30,000 a day, the one that we're building up. So we're getting ourselves to a point where we can have enough people buying from us, but then B, we have enough ways to segment. Right. So we can do different collections.
You're not emailing the whole list. You're segmenting.
Exactly. Yeah. So if I was to advise someone who was brand new, I would say build yourself a structure, right? It's never a bad idea to say, Friday, we're going to do a promo and we're going to close it on Sunday or Monday, right? And you do that every single week in some regard. Why? Because you're training people to eventually respond to you, and they're going to expect your email and your SMS that day. And there just happens to be the biggest shopping day of the entire year on a Friday and a Monday, right? So you're basically training people, and it is that way, right? It's marketing. This is what people do, right? I always kid. It's Pavlov's dogs, right? I always kid because I'm a huge fan of The Rock, right? I know that he drops stuff at 9:00 on Tuesdays. So if I see his post and he says new launch coming, I'm like, all right, it's Tuesday at 9:00, and I'll be there at my phone, waiting to go, and boop, there you go. So I'm aware that it happens to me as well as my customers. So you do that, and so you have one promo a week. And then I would say, we're in a constant state of launching here, right? So do release once a week too. And that gives you at least 3 campaigns a week. Now, with the big promos over the weekend, that would be the time to give SMSs. SMS, I would do 2 or 3 times a week max, because you really, and besides Black Friday, because you really want to keep that list and happy, engaged, and not annoyed, because they are going to be your most powerful little gem little bucket there, right? Eventually you can get to the email standpoint as you grow. Anybody that's listening to this, that's a bigger store, if you can segment this out, you can get to a point, as long as it's logical, you can get to a point where you can email every day, different collections and offers and things like that.
So, you mentioned earlier about kind of the importance of a brand, right? Like if you want to do this, if you want to build it into a sellable asset, if you want consistent repeat purchases, right, from customers that you've already acquired, you need to have kind of a strong brand. And
Right.
Tiffany, you were mentioning that Matt took a look at your store and gave you some suggestions on how to, I'm assuming, strengthen the brand that you had already started to build. Can you give us, Tiffany or Matt, top 2-3 kind of tips there? Like, or heck, I'll throw this to Tiffany. What did Matt tell you to do, if you don't mind sharing, to improve the strength of your brand to help support these efforts?
A lot of things. So let me try to think of some of the top ones. Definitely, in terms of consistency, I think the aesthetics looks of the store is very important. You don't want to be blue and green over here and then purple and red over there. So a consistent look. But what's more important is the products. The products that are our main products, like say it could be ShineOn with necklaces. And what are the upsell products that complement those products? So it could be the earrings, it could be now the gift wraps and the protections and everything that ShineOn upsell is offering. So anything that really relates to that top level product. And then just the consistency overall, and the consistency overall in the website itself, the consistency in the email, SMS, and then even on the back end on customer service. So those are the big things that I think Matt really touched on.
So it sounds like it was a lot of the advice was around just maintaining kind of this brand congruency as you go from like page to page or page to email or page to SMS, having it all kind of look and feel the same so that people build familiarity with it, right?
Yeah.
And they kind of like know,
Correct.
oh, hey, this is XYZ brand. Just
Yeah.
telling me about a new promo. And they already know, they already have a framework in their mind of the brand colors and the feeling and the tone that you use and your voice in text and SMS and the types of products you sell and all that kind of stuff. Is that about right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And, the really good example is we are selling jewelry. Obviously, we don't want to be selling shoes on another page, right? So the congruency is absolute. And then, but also the idea of building up the product collections. So, we can be a more family general store, but we also need to know our niche into the specific categories. So if we're targeting like the romantic niche with husband to wife and boyfriend to girlfriend, we really need to know what those audience look like, what they're looking for, so we can build and create our products, in terms of the messages, in terms of the designs that caters to their needs. It's not about what we want, it's about what they want.
100%. Yeah. I think that was awesome. Tiffany's 100% on point. A lot of people screw this up in the simplest ways, in which ultimately is some, this is why I'm not like I don't teach like hacks and stuff like that. Having your Facebook name, your Facebook brand page be the same name as your website, like simple stuff like that, which some people will be like, oh yeah, have one for every niche. And I used to do that as well. But like, you want every single touch point throughout the entire customer journey, from the time that they see your ad to the product hitting your door, to remember who that was from. There's no worse thing for your brand than if your product gets delivered and you're like, I don't know who this is or what this is. I don't even remember what this is, right? You guys selling amazing products here from ShineOn. You can take advantage of it. Now, and these also solve big problems. One of the biggest things you can do as a brand is solve the biggest problem possible for someone. And you're like, how does a ShineOn product solve somebody's problems? Well, the best example is what's coming up here in Christmas. Christmas is not about the tree and, you know, and Santa and everything like that. It's actually about showing love and appreciation to somebody, right? So this is what we talk about a lot. And that's why we even named it like the I Heart Jewelry stuff, because the emotion that you can give and the emotion that you can cause through your ad and obviously the opening of the present when the ShineOn product gets there is the problem that you're trying to solve. You're trying to give someone, like, easy to say, like a husband. I just gave my wife her push present because I have a child on the way, right? That's my love and appreciation for the 9 months plus what's about to happen here, right? And that it's embodied in that little piece of jewelry. So when you're selling a ShineOn product, you have to lean into that in everything that you do. And it's not just about the product itself. It's about your product description, the way that you message in your SMS and your emails. And then Tiffany touched on it, your product selection, right? The best example of this is, I love getting anecdotal information, right? I have a wife, mother, mother-in-law, sister-in-law, 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 right? So I have 6 women that I buy stuff for Christmas. So if you do your store correctly and you lead me in with something for my wife and I really like it, and I think that all the other women in my life would have liked one too, then you might solve the problem for me, which is I got a Christmas shop. I have 0 time, but all of a sudden this store in front of me has 6 items that can solve my problem immediately. And so my little AOV of $50 just turned into 300 plus, right? And that's how you guys, and by the way, the bigger problem that you solve, the better your brand is, right? Coca-Cola is a great example. Coca-Cola isn't about the soda. It's about the moments that they drink Coca-Cola and you're having a good time and they start, that's why commercials always tie that together.
Seriously, man. Coca-Cola commercials are like super trippy because you have no freaking clue what they're about. They just feel good.
Because they can't make it about sugary soda after at that longer time, right? Yeah, it's about, and it's the same thing with, where I learned it was, you never see somebody that isn't having a good time in a Bud Light beer commercial or any beer commercial. They're rarely ever drinking the product, if ever, and they're always having a good time because they're solving the problem of you maybe not having a good time right now, and then put, hey, I can get into a good time if I go drink, and that's actually like a psychological thing.
This is all of marketing, by the way. Marketing is always selling people a better life, right?
Yes,
it just
absolutely
looks a little different based on the product. Right. But I want to emphasize this real quick because we say it all the time, but especially if you're new, you got to clue into this. What I always say is, I say if they cry, they'll buy, right? And this is speaking to exactly what Matt is saying as well. The problem you're solving for the customer is like, no, you're not fixing like a leaky pipe in their house or a flat tire or something like that. You're not doing any of that. The problem you're solving though is they would like to have a meaningful, sentimental gift that they can give to somebody in the family, right? And our product fits that niche. It fills that gap. And we like to say if they cry, they'll buy. And that's just it's just a short way to remember. If you move somebody emotionally, they're going to be more likely to buy the product. Now, the emotion can be a number of different things, right? It can be like, Jim, I'm not poking on Jim here, but Jim has some daughters and he is constantly doing phrase research to put on message cards for daughters. And he typically says that he uses himself as a litmus test for whether or not it's a good phrase. Because if it causes him to get a little teary-eyed, he knows I'm going to test that one, right? So it can be something like that where it's kind of a tearjerker. But it could also be something like, we have lots of memorial and remembrance gifts. So like if somebody like kind of, they get in touch with grief again a little bit, not in a sad way, but in kind of that bittersweet kind of way. That can be another way you move somebody. It can be laughing, right? If they laugh, if they think that the gift is funny. We had Ronnie McKenzie hit a real big winner last year with something that was, some people would find borderline inappropriate, but it had that kind of shock factor, right? And there was a certain group of people that found it funny. But it's like, again, it all comes back to this emotion. If you can move somebody emotionally, they're going to be much more likely to buy the product, especially on Facebook, right? Because you're going for impulse purchases there. You got to get them to stop in the newsfeed and then feel strongly enough about your product to take a detour out of Facebook and buy it. Right.
Well, I mean, think about Facebook. That's a good point. And what we talk about in the course is the fact that you have to remember you're meeting people where they are, right? You're meeting your potential customer where they are. And where are they? They're on Facebook. And what do you do on Facebook? You like, you comment, and you share. And those are Facebooks. And now the like is like all the other ones, right? But the like, comment, share is the emotion on Facebook. So if you can cause, by the way, that's how you get lower and cheaper and better performing ads, is you get the reactions out of it, because that's what Facebook wants. And that's what the people want to do while they're on Facebook. So this product fits so well because it checks all the boxes, right? And you're 100% correct when it's not necessarily about maybe the product itself, but it's what the message card plus the product can create somebody. The remembrance ones are great because you're remembering some kind of prior event, right? Like I remember my grandpa yesterday, Veterans Day, right? I saw a Veterans Day post and it reminded me of my grandpa. Right, that's the kind of stuff that happens with the ShineOn jewelry. It's the secret of selling T-shirts too, by the way. If anybody's on here selling T-shirts, you're not selling somebody their first T-shirt, right? I have a closet full of T-shirts. I have 50 T-shirts, but you probably sell me another T-shirt if you have the right way for me to express myself. The design is an expression out to the world of saying this is who I am, right? But then when you have a ShineOn product, this is what you mean to me on a one-on-one basis. And if you can achieve those things and you can really heartstring, pull on the heartstrings a little bit, that's how you guys scale these things up. And if you do it the right way, with the right message, and it applies to a lot of people, and you can do what Ronnie says. The funny humor stuff works, guys. I hate to tell it to you. Like, people want to stay away from them. The humor stuff is some of my best sellers ever, because there's a lot of people that think, oh man, they think that's funny too. And they don't want to say it out loud. But if you give that people on social media the ability to express themselves, that's why memes are huge, right? Because somebody gets it. It's a little inside joke and it blows up. Those things work out really, really well too.
Yeah, it's a good point. And what's weird is look, until I saw Ronnie hit it off with that product, I would have told people to probably avoid going for the humor route with the jewelry. But the thing is, nobody really does it. So when somebody hits it, they don't have a lot of competition, so it works. I would also say that all the stuff we're talking about, Tiffany, I think it was a Mother's Day product, if I remember right. Mother's Day or Father's Day, you were scaling one of our products. Correct me if I'm wrong here. But you had a phrase, I remember seeing the ad. You had something that tied in. It was kind of an emotional phrase for it was like a new parent, if I remember right. You don't have to give it away or anything. I'm not asking for that. But you were tying into it too. Every winner I've ever seen come out of any ShineOn seller does that. It's all about that kind of emotional experience you're creating in the gift giving process. So, all right, we've talked about the brand, we've talked about the store, all that kind of stuff. I want to shift gears and then we'll move towards kind of wrapping this up out of honor for both your time. So, look, we got a lot of people in the audience. They're either watching now or going to be watching on YouTube. They don't have a list, right? They don't have a huge list. They may not even have a store. They might be selling on the ShineOn platform. So they're in this kind of cold acquisition game right now. So you just gave us what I think is probably the best advice you can give somebody in cold acquisition, which is create a product that's going to move people emotionally, right? That, 100%, that 80% of your time should be spent trying to figure that part of the code out, right? But what are some other kind of tips and tricks you would give to people that are in this cold acquisition game? They're on Facebook, they're on TikTok, they're maybe on some of these other platforms. They're trying to crack the code. What are some other tips you can give them to help them find some success this year?
Leverage your winners is something that I think is not done nearly enough. And Tiffany and I had a conversation like this, is that it is far easier for you to take something, even moderate amounts of success, right? So you have a couple of sales and try to improve that or take it into a different area, right? So Mother's Day example, can you flip that, whatever it was, into a Father's Day present? Probably, if you think about it hard enough. It's far easier for you to do that than for you to go off and find something that's completely unproven and new again, right? One of the best things I've ever done in my career is learn that fact. I would take something on a t-shirt and I would put it onto a different product, then I put it onto a different product, then I would take it on a different product, and I'd keep rotating it and send it back to the same audience with the same niche or the interests, same ads, everything like that, just changing up the product. You have that ability in ShineOn too, right? So you need to understand when you start building, whether it's on ShineOn's platform or you move off into your own Shopify store or whatever it is, you need to understand that you should be thinking of your customers as a feedback loop. Your connection to your customers is a feedback loop. So you send something out, they buy something from you, you take that back and you leverage it into something new, and it keeps constantly going. And then when you have bestsellers, what did we talk about, Tiffany? We take that, we put it onto our homepage, we start manipulating our site around it, we build out catalogs and collections and navigation and everything like that based off of those bestsellers. So if you're brand new or on the ShineOn's platform, you take, even if it's your best performing ad nobody bought, that's your product that you hone in on, make that better, and then scale out laterally into similar products that can help you still kind of get into that niche until you have one that moonshots, right? If you know what that means, they go to the moon, right? So you want to, I've been thinking about crypto and stuff like that a lot lately. So yeah, but anyway, so you go to, you take it as a feedback loop, and you get to see that's the niche that you start honing in on. And it could be like a segment of the family niche. If you're on the family stuff with ShineOn, it's a great place to be. But also you can like start thinking about ways of leveraging down. So if you have something that's to my dad from son, right? And that's your big one that sells. Well, start carving out the dad niche, right? Start putting a golf angle to it, start putting other different stuff and kind of angles to it, and then sending that product back out in a more niche targeted way. The one thing I see way too much is everybody's constantly looking for that new thing, and they're not learning from the fact that data is being given to you and feedback is being given to you, and you need to utilize that into your business on a constant day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I think that's good tips. And on that feedback loop, it's not just, and I think you were kind of saying this, it's not just you put something out there, you get a sale, and then, you start to work the feedback loop there. It's also you put something out there, you don't get a sale. Right. Maybe you get clicks and no sale, right? Or whatever the case may be.
Or nothing.
But you have to work with that too.
That. Right.
Yeah. You've got to start figuring out how to work on that, how to improve it, things like that. So Tiffany, I want to kind of throw the same question at you. We have people that are in the cold acquisition game. This is a great time of year to be in that game. With Christmas around the corner, you can make oodles and oodles of cash here. But what advice would you give to people? What trends are you seeing? If people are testing products, maybe they're getting a sale here, a sale there, they're trying to tweak things out, they're trying to find their winner. What kind of advice or tips would you give them that would help them this season?
I think as a brand new beginner, especially if you haven't found your initial potential winner yet, if you haven't gotten the 10, 20, maybe a first 100 sales, is getting into the niche that you most understand. So if you are a husband, you are a father, you're a mom, you're a daughter, you're a grandma, or you're a granddaughter, getting into the relationships that you most identify with. So when you're researching for the quotes or the messages, online, or through books, if it touches you, you are human. So is everybody else. If it touches you, chances are it's going to touch someone else. So very similar to what Michael, you mentioned with Jim, he's the father of 2 girls and he's looking for father quotes to his daughters. When I'm actually either writing or reviewing quotes, if it's for like romantic, I have my boyfriend in mind. If it's to mom, I literally have my mom in mind. And there are times when I was reviewing those quotes and rewriting them, I had tears in my eyes because I have my mom in mind. I'm putting through that emotion as if I was really writing it to my mom, writing it to my boyfriend, or writing it to my dad. So I'm using myself as the best test. And if you want to go one step further, you can take that quote and give it to the person that it was written for and see if it touches them. Because at the end of the day, what we are selling here is not just a jewelry. It's not just a message card in a box. We're selling human connection. We're selling human emotion. And so is all the beer companies, the Louis Vuittons, the whatever companies. We're selling emotion. We're putting people together, especially at this time when things are very, bipolar and traumatic on the outside. it's even more important for people to connect with each other, whether they're in the same city or living miles apart. So we are servicing them. We're doing them a service by connecting them. We're also putting out the message to them in a way they cannot put into words themselves. The way I kind of look at it is, if we go to the store, go to Walmart, pick up a card, the cards not a lot of times have really nice writing on the front and then on the inside, but there's still blank spaces. And then when we're writing that happy birthday or happy anniversary card, sometimes we have that moment of, crap, now what do I write? So what we are doing is we're providing them with that message that they really wanted to say, but don't have the means, don't have the capacity to say it. And we're saying it on their behalf. And that's the value added. And that's the service we're providing. And that's the reason why they're spending money to buy our products. So if it touches you, touches someone around you, then you probably have a winner.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. If they cry, they buy. It's the phrase that pays. If it touches you, it'll touch them. We're all saying the same thing here, right? Move people emotionally. Focus on that piece of it. That is the bedrock of an amazing product. So I'm going to pull up here, Matt. I am going to need your help here getting into this a little bit. So I want to talk about jewelry profits. So Matt has partnered with Devin. They've made a course called Jewelry Profits. I've actually taken parts of this course. I haven't gone through the entire thing yet. There's a ton of good insight there. I think is most of our audience probably knows by now. Matt's got a wealth of experience. Tiffany's been able to attest to it. Can you kind of walk us through what some of this is? So Jewelry Profits, the 8-week masterclass. What is the masterclass? Is that the course itself? And it's a spaced out over 8 weeks, right? Where you're kind of taken through the class sequentially.
Yeah. So if you haven't, if you haven't caught on by now, as Tiffany has said a couple of times, I'm a very systematic guy. So we have the course completely structured in from getting you started to getting to a point of scaling, and getting to what everybody wants to be is up there. Well, in between there is a lot of work to be done, and so we have spaced it out into good weeks to make sure that you're implementing it along the way and not just watching this beautiful face on your computer screen.
And I could do this all day, Matt. What's the done for you jewelry software? Now, I've actually seen this, but I'm going to let you explain it, and then I'll share my experience with everybody.
Yeah, so we actually have a designer that we have hired to help make the message cards and upload them into the software where you could just add your text to it. You can actually, we had this cool preview function. I don't know if you saw that one, Michael, but we actually have a preview function where you could see the pieces of jewelry on the message card and then download it, and it'll be ready to rock and roll for you on ShineOn. You just upload to ShineOn and rock and roll. The reason that we did this is we identified that it's a huge roadblock for a lot of people. It's simply, even if you're just going to be like testing and scaling and working on phrases, but especially if you're getting started, finding a designer that you trust, finding somebody to get you going and make these cards is kind of a roadblock. So we wanted to make it as easy as possible on you. And then we give enough options to where it's almost infinite amount of ways that you can take it. If you consider how many options we have in there, plus how many times you could have text in different ways, there's all these different options for you to go out there and find a winner.
Yeah. So if I could describe this from my perspective, it's almost like, imagine if Canva had like our products and like the message card templates like already loaded up in there. And I would even say phrases and things like that too. And like you're able to just kind of point and click, kind of drag around, change a phrase, move text around, all that kind of stuff. And then like literally publish the message card product. It's actually a really cool piece of software. And the other thing, because I'm just now thinking about it, this course is it orients around ShineOn exclusively. I mean, it's entirely around ShineOn, building a brand, building a business, creating winning products, all around literally just ShineOn stuff. So it's super freaking cool. And this software was built with ShineOn in mind, which is kind of unbelievable if you guys even did this.
The software is built with ShineOn in mind, and then everything in the ad section and everything like that, it's with ShineOn products in mind, and teaching you guys how to test what kind of budgets, what kind of numbers you need to be looking at, knowing your profit margins, and then being able to scale with a product that's completely unique to where most other people in other courses are selling, right? Most other courses out there would probably be talking about shirts if they're in the POD space, or like a dropship product that has like a lower dollar to it. So how do you test and how do you scale with $50, $100, $200? Now I'm throwing up $250 items. Like, what are my expectations, my numbers, everything like that?
And so real quick before we move to some of these bonuses, we have a question in the chat. Somebody asked if the content, I think we're so close to Christmas, people are worried about this. Does the content come, like if somebody buys it today, does the content come out in a drip, or will they get access to the whole thing all at once?
It does drip, but we do actually have a quick start. I can't see if it's up here though. We have a quick start portion of it too that we can get. I
got that from Devin.
Oh, it's okay. We have a quick start, portion of it too that we can get that helps speed things up for you and get to where you want to go as well. So yeah, it is drip because in my experience in doing this for the better part of 10 years, most people need that, like, learn and apply. And if they just blow through it, it's like you didn't even hear what I just talked about, right? It's like like when people try to listen to YouTube videos or something on 1.5 speed, you didn't really just listen to what was going on. Like, you want to take stuff in, implement, take stuff in, implement. But then for the more experienced people, that's what the quick start's for.
Gotcha. So you're saying that, yes, the most of the content is dripped, but you do have kind of this whole quick start thing so that somebody can get that if they want to get the course but get started today, they can go through the quick start, and that'll give them enough expertise to be dangerous.
Yep, absolutely.
Got it. Okay, so let's talk about some of these bonuses now. So you've got this monthly coaching call with Devin and Matt. What is this? So once a month you get on a call with other coaching students, I assume.
Yep.
How long is the call? What do you guys cover? Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's usually an hour. Sometimes it goes more. But this is where we want you to come with questions and you have things that you've implemented. Whether you're on you're 2 months into it or you're on day one, we want to help you implement it. And then we're all about thinking about what our customers and what we have gone through over time to make sure that they're getting things done correctly. And one of the biggest things I've always had is you get so siloed when you do this. Sometimes you don't have the ShineOn group that you guys have here is amazing because you can ask questions and stuff like that. But we literally go over, if you want to show us your store or you want to show us different things, we can go over the shoulder with you and help you walk through the things that were talked about in the course. And so we are trying to do the best that we can to make sure that the moment that you have a problem or you have a question, we can help with that exact problem in some real world experience.
Gotcha. Okay. So that's once a month, you and Devin on a call for hour and a half, however long it takes. And you're doing over the shoulder stuff, answering people's questions, that kind of thing. And then once a week, we've got a call with Tiffany, our favorite. Tiffany, can you share kind of what do those calls look like? How long are they? Is it similar format to what Matt and Devin do? What does that look like?
So yes, the call is once a week on Thursdays. The call is an hour, but a lot of times I do go over an hour, just depending on how many questions we have. So it's a purely QA session. People come with questions and they drop it in the comments and I will answer in real time. Like I said, sometimes, we'll, depending on the answer or depending on the questions, we'll go a little bit longer, a little bit shorter, whatever it is. My stance is I benefited a lot from the training that Matt provided. And I really haven't been in this space that long, but I was able to progress quite well with the help that is surrounding me. That's Matt, Devin, and all the ShineOn staff. So to me, this is a way for me to pay forward for everyone else. So come with questions once a week, and if it's an hour, we'll lock in for an hour. If it's longer, I usually go over just so I have everyone's questions answered.
Cool. And before we get to this next one, I'm seeing some comments here in the chat. We have Dawn says they just finished the quick start this past week. It was great finishing designs, running ads tomorrow. Facebook user who really gets around. Sorry, we're right over the top of your face here, Tiffany. It's pretty rude that StreamYard does it that way. This content is very detailed but quickly digestible. So it looks like we've got some folks kind of speaking up in the comments about the quality of the course and the calls. Gary here says Tiffany's calls are awesome. And yeah, well, Tiffany knows her stuff, and she's hit multiple winners. So I would expect nothing less than for them to be awesome. All right, so let's get to this next one. Bonus, exclusive customer-only Facebook group and mastermind. When we say customer-only Facebook group here, we're talking about people who have taken the course.
Yes.
Right. Okay, got it. So it's other students, essentially.
Right. Yeah, and it's nothing against the ShineOn group, obviously, that you guys have. We want to make sure that you have an outlet.
Not be.
It's not. It's just making sure that you have an outlet with people that are in the same mindset that you are in, they're going through the same stuff that you are in, and then specific questions of like, hey, I am doing this in this video. Somebody else done it, and somebody else is like, oh, boom. Also it's a place to cheer each other on, like just like in the ShineOn group. Like there's nothing more exhilarating to me to seeing other people win, because then hey, like I can do this too, right? And like I'm right there, and that's how you should look at it in business. By the way, you talk about mindset, is that if you see somebody winning, you need to take that as like hey, I can do this too. And if you think like that, and you're like, hey, let me figure out. It's like when you walk on a beach and you see like a huge mansion. Like I always think, I'm like, man, how did that guy do? I would love to just sit down and just like pick that dude's brain, right? And like that's the kind of mindset you need to do. If you see somebody having a win, and that's what we try to encourage in the group. Like we had a guy going through for 2 weeks and get his first sale. It's like, man, you went from nothing to somebody, like a product that someone was willing to buy from you in under 2 weeks. That's a win, man. And you need to celebrate that. And then I'm hoping people cheer each other on in that kind of time.
And I'd like to just add a little bit too. The way I also look at it is the Facebook group, Devin, Matt, and a lot of the staff in Scub are always monitoring. So if you have the questions in between their calls and my calls, you can drop in the question. They will answer almost, very quickly. And also other students that are more experienced, they will help answer as well. And the way I look at it too is, being the student, being a beginner or been a beginner before, when I'm just struggling doing it on my own, it's a, solopreneurship at some point. It could get really lonely. It could get really discouraging. So being part of a tribe that, at least a weekly basis and monthly basis, you have a place to come where other people are struggling, probably the same issues that you are. And then you are also celebrating each other's wins. So we're in this together, whether you have the support at home with your spouse or kids or parents or not. This is a place where we come together for you, with you.
Yeah, that's awesome. It sounds I haven't been on the calls, but I've poked through the course. I've used the software. I mean, it is seriously super high quality. It's all ShineOn focused, which I think is really cool, because a lot of times the courses they're not focused on one print on demand provider and one print on demand product, and you've done that, which I think will really help people kind of crack the code. Before we move on to the next one, we got a question here. I can design until the cows come home, but my issue is audience. Is there anything about audience in the course? Audience selection, interest targeting, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. We talk about 2 different ways of doing it, right? Obviously, you're selling ShineOn products, so Eric is the one that this is, the family relationship types that would be called broad demographic targeting is really where like maximum scaling can happen, obviously, with a ShineOn product with a relationship type gift, right? Some form of relationship there. But we talk about niches as well. I mean, we have a framework called MCBW, which is the different kinds of categories that we get into: magazines, celebrities, businesses, websites, the different silos that I put buckets of people I put people in and going into a niche. But yeah, I mean, the design and the audiences, that's the easy part. A lot of the time, or at least it's easy for me. It's really making that connection with the product and the right. Like I always give this example. if I give you the best cat targeting in the world, but you run a dog shirt to them, you're not going to get them any sales, right? So it's really always ultimately about the product itself, and making that huge connection right there.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I always say that, you know, if you have a winning product, you can actually suck at the Facebook ad side of thing, and you'll still see some success. But if your product sucks, all the Facebook ad kung fu in the world is not going to save it. It's like putting lipstick on a pig, right? Yep. At the end of the day, you still got a pig. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not, you're not getting anywhere with it. So I agree with you 100% on that. All right. So next bonus, set it and forget it. Google Profits training. What is that?
So actually I saw somebody bring up a really good point. Yeah, we are updating this course constantly, and plan to going forward, because we're building a partnership with ShineOn in this regard. And so one of the things that we have to update is the brand new interface that ShineOn gave us. So we're updating that right now, and some new content that'll be rolling out.
Team of people to keep up.
Yeah, I know. Seriously. Yeah, we're gonna bring on Tiffany for more than just those coaching calls, I think. So we're doing that. And then one of the other things is Google just made a big update too, not too long ago. So we're going to have you fresh, up-to-date Google training on that. Like I said earlier in this call, just to harpen back to that, we sell a lot of, I've made millions of dollars on Google. And so it's a big part of the training. I mean, a big part of your journey. And the cool thing is that it's one of those pieces that you add on to it. So we stick with Facebook first, because that's going to be your primary driver. To me, it's still for this business model, it's still the space age technology versus everybody else has got sticks and stones kind of thing. But once you tack on Google, and especially with Google's new Shopify connection, those people that we talked about where they see your Facebook ad and they leave, those are the people we're capturing. And that's why the moves that Tiffany made, not Brittany, I don't know why I almost said that, but Tiffany made, I think it was brand was in my word, and brand and Tiffany became Brittany. So I don't know why, but the moves that Tiffany made around her brand were so important, because if they know your brand's name in their head, then they know what to Google. And that's what we really want to stress to you guys, is that it's going to be really, really hard for you to come up as message card jewelry. It's going to be a whole lot easier if we Tiffany's message card jewelry. Right. So that's what we want to really stress to you, is that branding and getting you to that space, getting those Facebook ads in there, and then the Google piece will help incrementally move the needle for you.
Got it. Cool, man. And then what is the cash on demand email profits training? I assume that's all the training on your back end.
Yeah, that's email that we've had created. It's training on just exactly what it says in the critical areas of abandoned cart full of welcome series, the critical pieces before you start getting into like heavy promotions and stuff that's more specialized over time.
Got it. And I assume this also includes SMS?
What's that? I'm sorry? You're breaking up.
Does this also include SMS?
We'll get some SMS on top of that. We talk a lot about that in calls and stuff like that, but we'll get some training on SMS specifically. Honestly, as much as I push SMS and stress it, it's a handful of people don't want to jump into it. But I'm trying to do my best to convince people as best as possible. Once you have a ShineOn store, a Shopify store, it's like a incremental piece. We actually train people and suggest to people inside the course to stick with ShineOn and your guys' platform. Even being a Shopify, this is how much we because we really want people to succeed. We're a Shopify app company, theme company. But we tell people stay on your platform as long as you can to about a $25,000 level to really get all your feet under you. And then you can kind of get yourself elevated to a Shopify store, connect ShineOn that way, and then grow in more robust, more, different ways like that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So let's hit this last bullet here real quick. So 24/7, 365 world-class support. So I assume, you've got this body of students that are kind of growing. They're going to have questions, things like that. Yep. What does the support look like for the students?
We have got the best support team in the world. You can email them, message them at pretty much any time of the day. I go to sleep, at certain parts of the day, so I'm not up all the time. But if you email our guys, they're going to email you back in just a handful of minutes. We pride ourselves on that. We know that people do this in crazy times of the night. right? I was doing this, burning the candle until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning when I was in the corporate world. So if you have a question, our goal is at any time of the day to be able to answer you. So yeah, that's as easy. We want to be here to support you.
That's awesome. So again, the course is called Jewelry Profits. I don't know how, can you guys read that right there?
That's a weird little highlight there you got there.
Yeah, let me do some work here. There we go. Well, that's better.
Yeah.
So anyway, the course is called Jewelry Profits. You can get it at jewelryprofits.shineon.com, jewelryprofits.shineon.com. This actually goes to a checkout page. I'm going to try to get this moved over to more of like a sales page, so that you can kind of see more about the course and all that kind of stuff. But the checkout page does attempt to summarize a lot of that. So jewelryprofits.com is where you can go to pick up the course. It is $997. It's $997 because it's super high quality. There's a ton of value there. There's a ton of content. You get the software, you get the support, you get the coaching calls. I mean, there's a lot that you get by purchasing this course. So I'd highly recommend everybody check it out. I'm in the Facebook group. There's tons of people in there posting about their successes and questions and things like that. It's really active. They are getting a lot of support. So I'd highly recommend everybody to check it out. We have gone on for a long time. I don't think I'm going to reserve some time now for Q&A. Matt and
Absolutely.
Tiffany, do you have any kind of parting words for folks that have joined us today?
Matt, I'll let you go first.
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, I really appreciate coming on and getting to know you, Michael, better, and then also just the ability to talk to your crew here. Yeah, I'm really excited about the future. A lot of people might not say this, but I'm excited about the future of what's available out here with the innovation that you guys are bringing to the table. That's why I wanted to work with and went down, and we were actually in your headquarters not too long ago, and seeing what you guys have firsthand is because I think what you're doing is necessary for people to succeed in the future, and the things that you guys are bringing to the table with the proving your products, first of all, which is I absolutely love. You prove your products before you even offer it to people to sell. But then also the innovations around upsells, the innovations around new products. You know, we have a crazy couple of things going on in the world, if everybody notices. But you know, my job is a business owner has been to stay ahead of the curve on that, and we're succeeding right now in my own business. And I love to see you guys do that for your people here, and we just hope to be, you know, the right partner and the right medium for people to learn and grow as well. Like I tell people there's multiple ways to sell a t-shirt, you know, multiple ways to skin a cat, but there's multiple ways to sell a t-shirt. So I'm not the only guy out there teaching. It's just my job to, you know, tell people what's worked for me, what's worked to scale it up to the, you know, almost $20 million in a year range. And then, you know, if you want to do things like exit your business, the process and the things that we talk about in the course are really the game changer between me and maybe the other people out there. So hope that this was information that you guys enjoyed, you know, and I just really liked coming on.
Yeah, well, you know, I want to say too that, like, you know, we've, you know, throughout this year we've had a few different either sellers we partnered with that have kind of launched their own courses. ShineOn's got some of its own courses. Now we've kind of partnered with you, and you've got a course. One of the things I want to say is, like, the education never stops, and especially once you hit a winning product, one great insight from a course, and I'm not exaggerating there at all, one great insight from a course pays for itself in scaling seasons. I have spent, good Lord, I have no clue how much of my own money on content, on courses, on info products, on coaching, because it's so important that you're constantly reinvesting in your own education, staying on the cutting edge, learning trends, things that are working. Sometimes I'll take a course and I won't learn some new ad strategy that's kind of that helps me. What happens though is some guy will just take a completely different approach into the business that is like a huge light bulb or aha moment for me that revolutionizes my approach to my own business, and it's worth all the money, right? So I'm real big on investing in your education. I think it's super valuable. So yeah, I love what you've done here with Jewelry Profits. I love the content that you've put together. The software, I think, is pretty cool. You're totally ShineOn focused. So I really wanted to have you on. Tiffany, what about you? You know, parting words for the audience today.
Well, thank you again, Michael, for having me on. I absolutely love you guys, as you know. I'm still waiting for my sword, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Just kidding.
You and me both. Yeah.
One of these?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, you're not the only one. I need to figure out how many of these we have laying around.
Okay.
Eric owes me one of those from like 2 years ago, by the way. I give him trouble all the time and still, yeah.
Well, I'll have to send one of my guys to Toys R Us or something to at least get you something to pacify you for a little bit.
Yeah.
But getting back to a little more serious business, to me, you know, it always goes with, it takes a village to raise a child. And I feel like with my e-com journey, I came from no experience, and I consider myself extremely lucky to be able to get plugged into this community, whether it's with Matt and ShineOn, because on the coaching side, it's crucial to have good coaching and to stay in that mindset and to be able to learn and progress every step of the way. And someone who has the ability to teach beginners, intermediates, and advanced, doesn't matter which level you are, Matt is able to meet you on that level. And one thing I want to add is Matt is not only good with technical things like the site, the Facebook ads, the analytics, but to me, the real value also comes from he's a business owner. He knows how to run a business, how to build a business, now how to sell a business. So we are not just building a one-shot success here. We're building a brand, we're building a long-term business, we're building a lifestyle. So I'm sticking to Matt as close as I can. I like to be attached to the hip, but I don't think he likes that. But the idea is, I wanted to learn and absorb and gain traction for my business the way Matt did. And by being just in that close proximity is what I'm getting. And on the ShineOn side, I'm able to get the support, whether it's the product, the customer service, the various platforms, you know, the Etsy integrations. So it makes my life as a seller much easier, especially a lot of this I don't have to have the back end office developer doing. So with me being not the most technical savvy person, it makes my life easy. It makes my selling and my focus on my business easier, faster, and more profitable. So, and then last thing, you know, we're always testing. Just because we found one winner doesn't mean that winner is going to last us for the lifetime of our career. So we're always testing, we're always creating, we're always looking for the next thing. But at the same time, you are always only one winner away from hitting it big. And that was our experience for Mother's Day. That was our experience for Father's Day. We were on completely different sort of wrong path, and we were able to get back and then scale within the week to two. That really made huge for us for both of the holidays. So, you know, sometimes the valley can be a little low, but when it's high, it can be extremely high. So stay in the tribe, stay in the community, and that's what's going to get you from where you are to where your dream is.
It's almost like you're saying ShineOn is the sword, and coaching and mentorship is like the knowledge on how to use it.
Absolutely.
I do want to kind of emphasize something you just said, that, you know, you were saying you were kind of struggling with, I think it was Mother's Day, and then you kind of got locked in the last 2 weeks, right, before the shipping cutoff. I want to tell everybody here that's listening, stay in this fight until the day the shipping is truly cut off. And I'm not exaggerating there, because if you find a winner, the product I scaled to $92,000 a day or whatever, I literally found, I think, on December 5th. You know, think how close I was to the shipping cutoff. And I scaled it to almost $1 million before we cut it off. So it's like, you have no idea the sales potential. You cannot even fathom the sales potential that is here during the holidays. So stay in the fight all the way until the very end. Matt, I know you're itching to jump in here.
I'm going to give a little tip to everybody that's on here because maybe you haven't heard this before, but something I've used for years, and now I see my like students in their stores do this, is the second that ShineOn stops guaranteeing delivery. I think you could do this on your guys' platform, but you use a discount code that says something like not going to make it or late or something like that. And you put in your product description or in your top header bar and say like, hey, we can't guarantee delivery or this is going to be late, but then you give them a discount for the fact that it's going to be past the Christmas delivery. There is let's just put it, a large segment of the population that doesn't make your cutoff date, that doesn't buy before that any cutoff date, like even Amazon's cutoff date, and they're fully willing to buy something from you just because it's a discounted thing, and they suck it up on Christmas and show somebody a picture on their phone saying, "I got this for you." Might as well. Tiffany did this for Mother's Day, and I do this every single year for every single holiday. And it works out extremely well. So we sell all the way through Christmas, all the way afterwards and everything like that. We never cut off our ads because we flip the script and say, it's not going to make it to Christmas delivery, but here's a big discount to say, still buy from us. And people love it.
So here is the winning copy I have found to do just that. So everybody that's listening, get out your pens and papers. Write this down. Here's what I found. You say this. You say, it may not make it by Christmas, but the shipping is on us. I have found that converts super freaking well, man.
That's good too. Yeah. And then, by the way, just the best part of it is that if you get blown up in your customer support, you say, hey, you literally used a discount code that says not going to make it. And like you knew what that code was for or something.
Yeah, that's smart. That's smart to actually like make that the discount code.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
No hiding it there.
So hey, if everybody enjoyed Matt and Tiffany coming on today and you want us to have them on again in the future, drop some love in the comments below. I want to see some what emojis do we want? I'm always doing the emoji game.
The hearts, man. It's an emotional product. We talk about emotion the whole time. Let's see some hearts.
There we go. Let's do some hearts. Give us your favorite heart emoji in the chat below. Show some love, and we'll have them on again in the future. So Matt, Tiffany, thank you so much for your time today. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for having me. Talk to you guys soon.
Take care, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you, Tiffany.
Bye.